What's something you did during sex that was so stupid you still facepalm about it today? In college my girlfriend was riding me in my dark bedroom summer night. She was vigorously gyrating that I could feel her sweat dripping on me. Afterward we kissed and cuddled. When we turned on the light we discovered she had a bloody nose and her blood was all over my neck and chest. This was a bit of a misunderstanding, but when my boyfriend and I first got together, I was going to give him a BJ, so I took the gum out of my mouth and I thought I put it in the trash bin. I did not. After we finished I went to the bathroom and saw gum all over my hair. I guess it was still on my hand when I put my hair up with a hair tie. So I said, man, this takes me back to my childhood, referring to the gum stuck in my hair. When I walked back into his room, his face had changed from happy bliss to complete concern. After a pause he finally says he was so sorry and that we didn't have to do that again. He hadn't seen the gum in my hair. He thought I was talking about a childhood filled with blowjobs. Once we figured out the mix-up, he was still a bit shaken by my childhood. I haven't been fricked like that since grade school. Marla. Fight Club. One girl I was with in high school was on top, and I had to fart real bad. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just tried to hold it in. She started to get more into it and picked up the pace, which caused a series of tiny rhythmic farts every time she came down. It sounded like a machine gun. She stopped and asked if I farted and I blamed the squeaky bed. She knew. I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard at something on Reddit. I fuked my ex. I haven't noticed it until after some minutes. She says, I don't know what you're doing, but can you put it inside? I kinda like thigh fricking though, cause it rubs the clit very lightly. My husband accidentally did the same thing and I told him to keep it there for a while, lol. First time I saw a penis, I was like, wow, so that's it. I meant like, wow, it's actually there. Here it is. But he understood it like it wasn't big or something, lol. Like, where's the rest of it? No, why, poor guy. I had sex with a deaf chick and I was moaning really loud, but she couldn't hear it, so I gave her a thumbs up for half of it. It became an inside joke. This is kinda sweet though, lol. I asked my boyfriend to talk dirty to me. In the middle of sex he starts saying in my ear, frick you, frick you. I let it happen and afterwards burst out laughing, telling him to never do that again. My husband was trying to talk dirty to me and finished a sentence calling me a silly goose. Sex was postponed for a good 15 minutes while I laughed my butt off. Calling me a silly goose. I'm gonna make you honk so hard. An old girlfriend of mine said she wanted to be slapped while we were going at it. After 100% ensuring she really wanted to be slapped, I slapped her. I missed her cheek and smacked her right in the nose. She yelled, "Wow, frick," but thankfully didn't hold it against me. The classic guys don't know how to slap during sex. They either do it too lightly or knock the sonic rings out of your butt. Holds true. Thank God there's been no accidental nose hits over here, though. Mayo, at least she took it like a champ. He said arch your back while we were doing it doggy style and I arched it the wrong way, up, and he had to say no the other way. OMG. Scared cat pose. I'm dying. Getting my wife's bra off. Too many dang straps and crap. I muttered Rubik's boob and we started laughing so hard we killed the moment. Having sex while standing, holding GF face to face, and supporting her off the ground with my arms under her legs. Yeah, you have to have some strength to do this. So she's all into this new position, and my arms are getting tired. So I have the idea to walk forward and put her back against the wall. Except it was the patio sliding glass door, in January, which was freezing cold. Bare GF back against a cold piece of glass. Nope, that definitely broke the mood. That ended better than I thought it would. The first time he went down on me he had a slight cold and I was super nervous. So he's going at it, right up in there, and my brain decided to ask him, how's your nose? He just looked up at me, shook his head, and kept going. Thankfully. My girlfriend a while ago liked to do the ice cube, cup of TBJ trick. One night we didn't have any ice cubes, only a bag of frozen peas. She went down on me with a mouthful and it turns out that peas in the mouth defrost really fast. After about 20 seconds she choked and coughed BJ mushy peas all over me and my new sheets. Improvise. adapt, overcome. Tell me more about this ice cube cup of tea trick. My boyfriend at the time was trying to take my tight jeans off and struggling mightily to get them over my hips. I lifted my hips up to assist with the process and the jeans came off quickly and he flew backwards and hit his head on the wall. It was absolutely hilarious and I laughed. He did not find it equally funny, and sexy times were put off so he could nurse his head injury and his pride. Getting hot and heavy with my GF in bed, making out and getting ready to start the main event. We're whispering back and forth to each other when I say, "I wanna be inside you," to which she immediately responded, What did you say?" After a very confusing moment, I realized she thought I said, "I want to pee inside you." It kinda killed the mood. BTW. Freaking autocorrect almost made me post this as getting hot and heavy with my grandfather in bed. Glad I'm a paranoid proofreader. The autocorrect has me dying. Going when I came. Her roommate had friends over and they still make fun of me to this day for it. I hope they started calling you Mr. Pooper Butthole after that. She, who's very insecure, queefs very loud, and leans forward, looks back at me, lips shaking like she's going to cry. I'm not grossed out or anything but I do kinda feel bad for her. I seize this opportunity to let out a fart that I'd been holding in, and followed up with "It's okay. I do it too sometimes." It was unsuccessful. She just started bawling. What the frick bro, that was the perfect save too. A girl invited me over to her house to watch the Wonder Woman movie. While we're watching it she starts kissing on me and teasing me. I said, "What about the movie?" She says to me, "Come on to the bedroom, it'll be better than the movie." And while we're going at it she says, "See, isn't this better than the movie?" And before I could catch myself I said, "I don't know, I haven't seen the rest of the movie." Bro. Not me, but my girlfriend and I were in the middle of sexy times and we had been wanting to get more comfortable with dirty talk, and after a little bit of back and forth she said, "How bad do you want this dong? I mean, pee." We just laughed it off, but she still gets embarrassed thinking about it to this day. I've gotten "Oh yeah, put your tea between my dong before the mayo." My very first time, with a gal who was out of my league. We stripped off our clothes and were making out. And both of us totally naked. I said, "So, what next? Do I ask for a BJ?" She laughed it off and said, "Let me take the lead on this one." I miss her. I miss her too. Lost my virginity to a girl with an IUD, so we just kinda raw dogged it. Basically I nutted in like 30 seconds but didn't wanna disappoint, so I just kept going for like 15 minutes till she was like, "Yo, are you good?" And I told her I nutted like ages ago and we laughed. Bet she never forget your limp spaghetti. So I met this girl at a bar one night. She had very vibrantly red hair, so I ended up going home with her. All was well. We exchanged numbers and I left. So we meet up again and her hair is bluer than the sky. So I say, "Oh crap, I like the new hair color." So she proceeds to tell me they are wigs. She had destroyed her hair and shaved it off. So, now wigs. The facepalm is, one night she's giving me oral. I look over and there's two different wigs next to me. I still don't know what possessed me to do it, but I took the one on her head off and, naturally, put a different one on. Sorry, this one isn't doing it for me. Not really bad but weird. I was having sex with my GF in the missionary position and out of nowhere she stuck her middle finger up my butt. No warning or anything. What really freaked me out was I came instantly. Didn't have any control over it. One of my friends in undergraduate had a similar situation and now he's really into being pegged. But no judging. Just warning. When I came my upper body froze up and I drooled on her face. I felt the spit making its way out and I couldn't move my arms or body. This happened twice with the same girl. I was fricking my girlfriend recently and drooled on her face. Luckily in the moment she thought I was sweating and she thought it was hot. Was not impressed afterwards. LOL. On my honeymoon, my now ex-husband and I decided to get drunk, eat snacks and watch Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. While doing so, we started fooling around and trailed off to the bedroom to finish what we started. While I started going down on him I noticed he was squirming and saw him wincing when I looked up. I asked him what was the matter, to which he replied, "It burns," and it was only then I realized I had just been snacking on extra flaming hot Cheetos right before. After rushing to get a wet cloth and repeatedly apologizing, I couldn't stop laughing at the fact that I just gave my new husband a flaming hot BJ. Not me but my husband. He was being silly, jumped up on the bed but hit the overhead light with his hand, raining pieces of glass onto said bed and cutting a gash in his calf. No sex for us that night. First time, I put it in and just expected things to happen. I mean, it felt warm and nice, but not even close to how good it felt when I masturbated. We figured things out the second time round though. PP warmer. So when I'm drunk and tired I start saying extremely weird things with no recollection of it afterwards. Sex is no exception here unfortunately. The worst thing I've said was probably my reply to her "how was it?" when I supposedly just dryly shrugged and said nothing to be proud of. When I first started dating my wife, we went out one night and I got hammered but drunk and she didn't. We went back to her place. I was on top and apparently started slurring something about my emotions right as I finished, then promptly passed out. It's been like 12 years and she will still randomly ask about my emotions. That movie with Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston where he counts to 50 before coming to make sure he lasted. Yeah, I freaking did that. It was a quickie. I yelled 50 and she looked at me like I have to rate ETs instead of making an obscure movie reference. That's both amazing and awful. So, we just started to have normal sex. After a while he probably thought it was sexy or whatever to ask me in a disguised voice how I want him to frick me. Yeah, well, that different sounding voice just confused me in that moment so much that I just blankly stared at him for a couple of seconds without either of us saying anything until I started to choke on my own saliva and we had to take a break so I could drink something. It was awkward. Very. You were so confused about what happened that you forgot to swallow your own saliva. Dang. My ex farted as he came once. He cared so much and never let it down. I didn't care at all. Miss you, Joe, you piece of crap. I didn't do anything. I was nervous around my first college crush. After a few weeks of talking I finally got her into my room. We were on my bed making out, getting touchy-feely. I realized pretty quickly that she wasn't wearing any panties under her short shorts. I looked down and said, "I can see your vag, JJ." She laughed awkwardly, said she had to go, and we never spoke romantically again. You were not yet ready, child. Okay, there are two. 1. My husband was going down on me and when I came I let out a massive fart. Right in his face. 2. You know those Listerine fresh breath strips? Well, if you put one in your mouth and let it dissolve, then go down on your partner, it can give a nice sensation for them. I was waiting for my husband in a very dark bedroom and I reached for the breath strips. But instead of putting one in my mouth I ended up putting what must have been 8 or 9. They started melting and it was overwhelming. My husband came in and turned on the light to find me scooping blue goop out of my mouth, blue drool on my chin, and my eyes watering. Not exactly the sexiest scenario. Accidentally tried to put it in the wrong hole my first time. She even had to say wrong hole. The movies always made it seem like everything would just line up perfectly, wouldn't have to look and line things up, like I could just slide on in without breaking eye contact. I now know a bit better. I dated a guy once who would always miss it. I'd do the wrong hole and he would always say who says, and I'm devastated to say I stayed with him for like 3 years. I did a P audition. I was all ready, but meant to get my nails done beforehand. I looked at Walmart for a quick solution and found glue on acrylic nails. I had never used them before, but the box said they'd hold up to 2 weeks. Fast forward to the audition, and it started off with me masturbating on the couch. I was rubbing my clit and I felt the nails start to pop off one by one. I tried not to panic and go with it. When I moved my hand I had a bunch of false nails stuck to my vagina. He was recording the whole time. I awkwardly laughed and asked to take them off and redo the shoot, but the embarrassment affected my performance and I just came off as extremely awkward. I got an email a few days later thanking me for they had not laughed like that in a long time. They said they didn't think I'd fit the part but asked if they could pay me for the segments to use in, for lack of a better term, a blooper reel. I haven't auditioned anywhere else since and don't plan to. Pretty much ruined it for me, but at least I can laugh about it now instead of being completely mortified. Oh my god, the story is hilarious. Yeah, those stick-on nails are a scam. Not me, but a very good friend of mine had the total hots for a girl, had been working on getting her interested for the longest time, took her out, wined and dined her, got her finally to come back to his place, put some nice music on, candles, wine, setting a lovely mood, they were making out. Clearly, things were about to happen. She took off her top exposing what he now deserves as spectacular and exquisite alabaster breasts, and he exclaimed in giddy surprise, "Oh god, they're massive like an absolute moron to the gods of boobies," which of course, she was not bowled over by. She started crying, pulled her top back on and left. It's been 20 odd years, he still brings it up whenever he has a remorse boner. Bet she thought the only reason he wanted her was for the boobs. One of my first times I thought for some reason unlubricated condoms were the way to go. They were not. Not long after getting into it we both got friction burned. She was screaming. I was screaming. I was literally bleeding after. Took about a month to heal up. There was not a second time for us. To be fair, lubricated condoms aren't really that good either. Just get normal lube. I've always been into name calling and my fiance is a nerd. He hasn't done this kind of thing before. So I was super frisky, close to an orgasm and asked him to call me names. He goes, "Do you like this dong? You unemployed lady?" I was like, WTF. My unemployment status during COVID times is the last thing I want to be reminded of during sex. LOL. Skips right past dirty talk and onto some fairly hardcore degradation. When it was my first time, I didn't really know what to do. So I thought it would be a good idea to copy what I saw in a dumb teen movie. So once I'm about to put it in I start laughing as if someone was tickling me cause that's what they did in the movies. She just said, "YTF are you laughing?" It was very awkward sex. When my wife and I first met, I moved my head downtown to have fun with her lady bits, but didn't have enough space at the bottom of the bed. The foot of the bed frame was in the way, so I licked and kissed my way from her waist up to her earlobes and then sensually whispered, "Scoot up." We died laughing for a good 10 minutes before we got back to it. So embarrassing. 14-year-old me never having jerked off, getting frisky with my first girlfriend when she asks if I'm close. I say I don't know. Does it feel like peeing? She says I think so. I proceed to pee everywhere while I run to the bathroom. IDC if this fake or real, but this is the funniest thing I have ever read. I've been laughing for 10 minutes. Well, I didn't mean to do this, but I was having major stomach issues one day and my BF at the time wanted to have sex. As we were just about to do it doggy style, I let out the biggest and loudest fart right in his face. Needless to say we stopped then and there and I'll never forget that. LMAO. Will the hookup and I were going at it, and she wanted to give me head, and while she was putting her hair back, the TV in the background, which happened to be Star Wars, said something about the Force. My 5 brain cell self thought it was a good idea to make a snarky comment about the Force while flexing my dong going up and down. She busted out laughing and so did I, and sex drive went out the door because we were too busy laughing at how stupid I am. I'd probably do this. A very straight MFM threesome and I, put both dongs in my mouth at the same time. BC I saw it in P. The men did not like quite that, but it did bring them closer together as friends. I don't know why this isn't further up. This comment has me rolling. I was sleeping over a guy's house who was a few years older than me, 30M/26F, and warned him that I had my period ahead of time so sex was a no-go. We were cuddling for a while when he said, "I know you have your period, but there are other options." I wasn't super comfortable with the idea of trying anal and told him I had never done that before. A few minutes later I gave him a BJ instead. Admittedly not my best, as it had been 4 years since my last relationship at that point and I was a little rusty. Fast forward to a few weeks later when he made a comment about being willing to teach me how to give a BJ since I had never done it before. Aside from the one time a few weeks prior, I was caught off guard and replied in a slightly flustered way that of course I've done that before, which was indeed true. Then it clicked. When I was on my period he was trying to subtly suggest a BJ, not anal, and I had told him I had never done that before thinking he was talking about the wrong thing. Embarrassing for a few reasons. 1. He clearly thought I lied about my sexual experiences and I lost all credibility at that point. 2. Since he was quick to believe I had never given a BJ and wanted to teach me how to give one. I apparently have the BJ skills of a virgin who had never seen a penis before. Our relationship ended shortly after that and I'm convinced to this day that it's because he thought I was a liar who was bad at sex. Well, during my first BJ he cringed and said less teeth and I learned I was very stupid indeed for thinking I could use teeth at all. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.